In the aftermath of that leak from the Supreme Court about the pending end of Roe v. Wade in America and the push to have government regulate and determine what is true and what is false by way of the Ministry of Truth, Americans are clearly concerned about one thing more than anything else. And that, of course, is the economy. This will be yet another huge disappointment. I mean, at MSNBC and CNN, they'll really have to ratchet up the insults and the smear jobs about straight white men and the wicked people in the Republican Party, because nothing they've done so far has moved people away from that idea that Joe Biden is incompetent and his clown car administration makes a dumpster fire look good by comparison. I mean, the Fed jumped interest rates by 0.5 point, the biggest move since 2000 yesterday. And the stock market rejoiced only because it wasn't higher. But while hedge fund managers and Wall Street executives were celebrating, the people on Main Street, you and me, are looking at the highest prices for gasoline and everything else that we have ever seen. Millions of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and inside the White House bubble and the bubble of Joe Biden's ever more obvious dementia, they think everything's going great. And it's time to raise taxes and destroy even more of America's energy sector. And the biggest gift they've had this week is the distraction of that Supreme Court leak. They are deluded, thinking electric cars are somehow going to save us and ignore the ominous warnings from companies like Ford Motor. Ford just said that we currently have less than 10% of the battery components we have to have in less than 10 years, meaning it's not possible to pursue the Green New Deal without destroying the entire country in the process. Ford Motor Company said that. But these delusions, well, they die hard. We'll start with Jen Psaki. She keeps saying the same old thing. The administration is doing everything it can to lower costs to Americans at the gas pump and at the grocery store and everywhere else. She just repeats herself and repeats herself. Listen.
And so one of the president's primary focuses right now, as you all know, is taking any step we can to bring down costs, whether that is the historic release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, leading the world in their own release, continuing to talk to large global providers of oil and what they can do to help the global market, even the announcements we've made over the last couple of weeks about E15, and taking any step we can to reduce those costs, and also continuing to have conversations with leaders on Capitol Hill and members about steps we can take to reduce costs for the American people, whether it's child care, health care, elder care, prescription drugs. All of these have an impact on people's day-to-day lives.
Yeah, it all has an impact on people's day-to-day lives, like your terrible policies on energy have a huge impact on people's day-to-day lives because they see it at the gas pump. And again, we're looking at the highest gas prices that we have seen, well, in my lifetime. The average up again. 2 more cents up since yesterday to $4.24. A week ago, $4.14, so it's up 10 cents in a week and climbing. A month ago, $4.17. A year ago, $2.92. $2.92, so it's $1.30+ cents higher than it was just a year ago. For diesel, well, it's up again, $5.47 the average across the country. $5.47 the average for diesel across the country. You can find it cheaper in some places, but it's an all-time record set again today. How many days in a row can you set a record price for diesel fuel and just ignore it? Blatantly ignoring the devastating results of the Green New Deal, the Biden administration just threatens airlines with getting grounded if they don't toe the line and get green. Listen to this.
We have solutions that can deliver. We're actually going to do 100 rules this year alone on appliances, just like you asked. We are developing partnerships on how we work together for new building standards, even for sustainable airlines. Who'd have thunk that they'd be all in, but they better be or they're going to be out of here. Right?
Oh, they better be all in, those airlines, or we'll get them. We'll make them pay the price. Socialists, communists, demanding you kneel at the altar of what they demand. This case is environmental justice. And as we talk about this, big fencing is going up around the Supreme Court in Washington. I guess they're concerned about the violent leftists, the Antifa crowd, and the rent-a riot coming to the Supreme Court to riot and attack. How are you going to blame Donald Trump for that one? Building fencing around the Supreme Court of the United States because they can't control themselves when they lose a ruling. The biggest issue of 2022, however, is not abortion. It's not. Like I said, it's all about the economy. Listen.
The days that I've been here talking to voters, what I've heard is that now inflation is their top concern. Of course, immigration continues to be on their mind, but with the constant strain of inflation on the wallet everywhere you go, it's hard to ignore. Take a listen.
I think inflation will definitely have an impact when I go to vote. Just kind of taking control of my entire life, at the grocery store, at the pump.
To be honest, probably inflation because it affects me more, but immigration's a huge issue out here too.
I think it's a pretty close race there, but I would have to probably say inflation.
It might be inflation.
It might be inflation. I'm guessing it will be inflation. You see, we're heading into a recession. We're heading into a recession, and they try to deny it. One more quarter of negative growth will prove me right. I'm no economist. I'm not allowed to have an opinion because if you're not an economist or a doctor, you're, of course, not allowed to have an opinion on any of this. But I can see, I can read, and I can think all on my own, and the recession is coming. Guarantee it. Even if Jerome Powell doesn't get it. Listen.
We expect growth to be solid this year. And we see, household spending and business investment as fairly strong, even in the first quarter, which was relatively slow on some other fronts. So, and the labor market, if you look at the labor market, for people who are out of work and looking, there are lots of job opportunities. For wages are moving up at rates that haven't been seen in quite a long time. So it's a good time to be a worker looking to either change jobs or get a wage increase in your current job. So it's a strong economy, and nothing about it suggests that it's close to or vulnerable to a recession. Now,
well, the problem is, I don't believe anything he just said. Of course, everything indicates we're headed toward a recession. $5 gas, $6 diesel. You can't find baby food on the shelf. We'll talk about that coming up after the break right here on the Steve Gruber Show.